meeting of the advisory committee 109 board now be called in order. First order of business is, do you have any minutes that we need to improve?
Yes.
Approval of April 15th, 2026 minutes. So everyone had the opportunity to review them.
Actually did. The only thing, in the 109 board update, Brian Funk has also agreed to help us look into street sweeping.
I have it in the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other changes or modification? Hearing none, those in favor to approve? Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next order of business, we have a presentation by Lydia Keenan with Recycle Partnership.
No, this is just one on the board update. The state-
No, that was last
took place at the 109.
Okay,
So you want me to?
please.
Okay, so at the last 109 board meeting, there were several topics. And if there's some crossover here between what I've done and what Karen has done, I apologize. But there was three things that's taking place. One is the renewal of Recycle Coach. It approved funding for batteries to be collected at the Shelby campus event. And there was a presentation about the tool library. The first, for people that don't know what Recycle Coach is, because does everybody know what Recycle Coach is?
Yes.
You can explain it.
Okay, it's good. So Recycle Coach is a program that we use that it's got several features, but what it is, it's a digital education and communication platform to help citizens recycle correctly and stay informed. The Waste District has purchased that each year for the past 8 or 9 years, I would say. And it's a way for us to get information out. So what's in it? What goes where search tool. So anybody in the county that has the app can put in, I have a couch, and it will tell them what their disposal options are. And this goes for about any product or material that you can think of. So that's really a good one. Collection reminders, where we have a schedule. A person can sign up to get a collection reminder when their trash recycling in the yard waste is to be picked up. I think a couple of home rule cities have started to utilize this, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So it's growing. Resident education and then other reminders. The participation for this past year for the web app, 12,265, which is a 30.6% increase. The mobile app usage is up 5.2%. Communications is up 1.3%. And the calendar invite is up 6.7%. A lot of people already know about all this stuff. If there's any questions, Karen's the person, and she can answer any questions that you guys may have. But we're glad that the 109 board has approved this to continue to use that.
How much is it? Just
Well, shoot, I don't remember.
It's, when I was here, it was like 10,000.
I think it's around 15,000 total. I think it's like 14,900 or something like that.
Yeah, so I think the amount of text reminders has driven up.
I get good feedback on it. I'll have people call me and say, what am I supposed to do with such and such? And if I say, I'm not sure, let me check, they'll say, well, I've already checked Recycle Coach and it says such and such, at which point I get to say, then you don't need to be bothered.
Why are you calling me?
Exactly.
So we push it everywhere at our pop-up drop-off events and everything. We try to push people to it, so it's a good thing. The other thing that the board agreed to do was fund a one-time collection of batteries at our pop-up drop-offs. It's a big deal, and the estimate that we got was over about $11,000 for one event, which gets you all of this stuff. But batteries are a massive issue in this industry right now, and we're trying to work our way through to find some solutions to get less batteries going into the waste stream and the recycle stream. I know Westrock's had more fires into this. So there's a lot of interest in doing this. We're gonna try it at the biggest event that we have, which is the Shelby campus again.
November 21st. So we'll be pushing that information out and can help spread the word, but because basically we want people to know so that we can get an idea of how many we would get at an event. This is an estimate based on similar events done by the company.
And this does not deal with vapes yet?
No.
I know.
That's a whole nother subject.
That's the estimated cost to dispose of those?
Yes.
Well, the Germans have figured it out. Their rule is if you sell it, you've got to take it back. The retailer beats on the manufacturer, and they kind of figured this stuff out so that the government doesn't get stuck.
A lot of that same thing is going on in Indiana on e-waste.
Really
And distributors of e-waste have to have a return policy
good.
worked out with manufacturers.
That's
in
encouraging.
That's in Indiana.
That's not far.
That helps us in
Okay,
that direction too.
so the last update is, there was a presentation from the Rural Tool Library. For those that worked really hard, this group worked very hard on the grant process. Rural Tool Library was one that received funding. I'm not sure exactly how much, but they gave a great presentation. And, you know, they purchased some large items that do get rented out or lent out. They had a goal of increasing to do 8 workshops per year. With the grant, they've been able to get to 10. They're able to pay instructors, so that has helped them bring people in, plus supplies. And what that has done is increased the marketing and it's boosted membership growth. They had a goal of increasing 117 members at 25%. Actually, they are on pace to increase by 45%. They have subsidized some memberships from their annual membership of being 120. They're able to subsidize it down to 20 because people still need skin in the game. So they have, they're up to 83% off. And the biggest goal was last year they, through a formula that they gave, they prevented 16.8 tons from going to the landfill or to disposal. Their goal through this grant was to get up to 20.7. And right now they're projected to hit 23.2 tons. So it was a very positive impact that the grant has had, and hopefully it will continue to grow. This is just one library in Jefferson County. There's interest for them to expand into other parts of the county to make it easier for people to get to, which I think is awesome. It's a really big thing. So kudos to them and kudos to this committee and the board for creating this grant. I think it's doing what it was intended to do.
How did their formula work for preventing the waste?
It has to do with the rentals, the number of rentals. To be honest with you, it's more detailed than I think that I can do from memory or do it justice. If it's something that people would want, maybe they can come back to this committee at a certain point. And give
Actually,
another
he
update.
did explain it, and it was very complicated, and it related to the specific type of thing that was being done. And I think it probably took him about 6 minutes to explain it, and he's right, unless you were really sophisticated, like you probably understand it. I didn't.
But it seemed like it was legit, eh?
Yeah, it wasn't numbers they had developed themselves. It was
Okay.
ones they extracted from different kinds of research.
Cool. They seem like good people.
I think so. And it fits, really with what we kind of want to do is people shouldn't just throw stuff away. They should fix it like the old days. Do that, there's less waste. That's the goal.
Is there any plans to go check on those grant recipients at any time, like drop-ins to see how they're doing or touch base?
Visits to their
Yes.
location. I know that education has been by the tool library.
Okay, good.
Don't we teach there?
Yeah, we we've utilized their space before in conjunction, and we partnered with them on some of our programs.
Okay,
Goldenrod Compost, I haven't seen Nathan in a while. He had been attending board meetings. And then Feed Louisville, we still have contacts to a tour scheduled this month, so.
Okay,
I forgot what I was gonna ask.
that would be the, well-known for it,
okay, I did have a question about the presentation by Recycling Partnership. There was a question asked about how much money, or how many pounds of paper they actually send out in mailers. And what kind of return we get on mailers, 2-3% on mailers. And what's the amount of paper we're wasting by using the US Postal Service? I have to believe it's an enormous amount of paper.
Well, I will tell you, Metro doesn't send very many mail at all. It's generally in a targeted area. Sometimes, and most of the time, and at least the education side of things, when we're working in a certain neighborhood, they include cleanliness and participation in programs. It's generally done putting it on the door.
I just said no. I thought it'd be a quick question in the partnership because they work nationwide. And in rural areas, you're going to send them by mail. I understand that, but with the advent of electronic communication now, we really shouldn't be sending anything via hard mail.
Yeah.
And it would just be an interesting tidbit of information.
Carrie, can you put that on for emailing the partnership? Right.
It's a good example of why Recycle Coach is handy, because I prefer to have something paper I can file and look up, but I don't get around to filing it anymore. It's so nice to open up Recycle Coach and just look it up.
All right. So want to move on to the staff update? We have an education calendar.
Well, the discussion topic, I think the board has.
You've adjusted my agenda. Senator Leonard reported that we are going to have a meeting with regard to street sweeping. Is that the next topic?
We'll go back.
Pete, I printed the meeting and agenda that was in the folder, and that might have been wrong now that I think about it, if you're not saving things.
Well, this is the.
I'm so sorry.
The next thing is discussion topics, which if you remember that was what the board tasked the committee with, increasing participation and street sweeping. So that's what I was prepared to
Okay,
touch on.
Can I just
I'll
ask a
give this back
question?
to Sandra.
Is an agenda sent out to the members? I didn't get an agenda.
There was someone sent out on Monday,
I
I
got it.
believe, if that's the correct one.
Yeah, it's budget.
Minutes.
It's also on the
Separate
website.
attachment from the minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, that's why it's,
basically, we want to, our discussion items are increasing recycling participation, incentives, and street sweeping process.
Do you have a copy of it? I think this is the one that's up there. So I don't know if you have that copy or not. So I went back in because we were talking about those
Thank you, Laura.
incentives and I was at the last meeting. One of the things I thought was that, to be able to tell if we're increasing something, we have to be able to measure it. So what I wanted to do was kind of show how we measure it and what the, I guess, limitations to what we do. So I was gonna go through the participation rate, and how it's calculated for the city. So basically, it is, the way it's done is, step one is getting the census data, which is adjusted by the ACS, which is the American Community Survey. The next thing is looking at the vacancy rate for the county, and that gives you an estimated occupied households for the calculation. And then you divide that by what the haulers have reported as people that they're servicing, combined with what the city of Shively does and what Metro does. So when we do that, really quick, what classifies as a vacant property is these. They can be vacant they're not being serviced. But why that matters is that will, how things are going will make the numbers jump up and down a little bit. So it's important to understand that it's just not people that doesn't have service. It's saying that this right here is what number are we going to use to divide this, what's reported. So when went back and we done this, Raftellus had a calculation and they were using US Postal Service data. So their data might be a little bit different. I haven't asked for that, but I don't have it. But I have to go with what we've done, which is the census information. So if you remember what I was just talking about, this is the total number of households that there are, 8.85% vacancy rate, which gives us 302,000. This is what's reported by the haulers and other entities as having service or availability of service. So that gives you an estimated percentage of people with trash at 97.4, 63.3, 54.4 for the different services. And what I did was I created a gap between what the census has and what is reported. So in this instance, it's 7,996 for trash, 111, 138 respectively. So there's a lot that goes into this. This is kind of like going back and looking at the history of it, the different ones, and you can see that it changes quite a bit each year, from 2022 being 2,300, 4,100. And there's reasons I think some of that happens. This is the limitations and things that we have to remember when we're looking at this information. Number one, availability does not equal participation. So when we're talking about increasing participation, that is going to be very difficult to measure. So just keep that in mind. Customer counts and census estimates are snapshots, meaning that when I do it, that's when it is at that particular time. When haulers say, I've got this many customers, it might have been on this date versus another hauler doing it on this date versus another hauler doing it on that date. And there are people switching, contracts being changed all the time. So you may get some variances there. So the timing of the hauler report, you might even get duplicate service accounts because of that. Home-based businesses is also something that confuses this. And I know that this is for a fact in the Urban Services District because Urban Services District picks up their small businesses that are classified as a small business on their residential routes. So it can get a little bit funny because people are not saying that they're a home business and some people are. And that kind of goes with the unreported single family that are converted to multifamily. This is huge down in Old Louisville. You take those huge stately homes that have been subdivided a whole lot of times and they don't want to share it. They've got 8 tenants in there, 8 apartments. So you get a lot of that goes on. And then lastly, the seasonal variability. Somebody that won't get service during the fall versus spring, and how is that reported? So all of these things bring into a lot of variability.
People do that. They stop and start yard waste.
Yes, they do. Another thing that I would also say in some of these, and it is this one here, the municipal services eligibility records may not reflect actual service recipients. I know that for a fact that while you can look at what Metro is eligible to collect to be, and it's anybody, single family homes, and that also includes apartments up to 8 units or less. So you have that. And then over the years, for whatever reason, there were places that got onto our collection and they get picked up. There's a lot of Metro's actually picking up quite a few more households. And I will say that we're hoping to marry up what Raftellus sent us with Route Smart data for tracking, and we can identify some of those. The best thing that we can do is do a full cart survey, going door to door and doing this. Got to remember, we don't get invoice from this person or a monthly bill, send a monthly bill to them. They pay based upon their taxes, so we don't have a personal contact. So we don't always know, and the crews out there, if there's a cart, they're gonna service. So that's a little bit about this. So when I look at this information, and I would consider this confidence level, with garbage, I would consider that within pretty good confidence that we're close. We could have some variances in there that I just talked about. And then recycling, it's medium. I would say that just because it's a little bit more variable, it's not, you don't know how they are, because subscriptions will come in and out. Yard waste, because of that variance with the seasonal, that makes it even a little bit more difficult. So always take these numbers for a grain of salt. They're an indicator of how many we have. We're required to report to the state each year what participation rates are. I think at a small county, it's probably a whole lot easier to make a good determination as to what it is. That county's too big. Hard to do. But I think that those numbers are pretty good. I think it maybe can get better. I'll talk to Raptalis and see what the USPS data, that's, if we're eligible to get that. I know that they're not too keen about sharing it. But maybe we can incorporate that into our future calculations. So number one, if we want to increase our recycling participation, there's opportunity of 117,244 properties there, close thereabouts, that don't have it available to them, or they don't have it right now for like in the subscription area. So that's something to keep an eye on when we decide what to do. The last part I would add is, I know that we're tasked to do this, but one thing to as a reminder is, we have a 5-year plan, and there were action items within that 5-year plan to hopefully grow recycling participation. And I just pulled those out and I put them on the screen. You guys can read them as easily as I can speak them. So a lot of this in progress is things that we're doing through campaigns or with programs that are trying to increase these things, which I'm sure that you probably heard over the course of the last couple of years through field trip, through education on how we're trying to reach. But we got work to do.
I thought we had finished the cost of services study and that the board accepted it.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, they accepted it from Raptalis with the caveat that there's more work to do. That's kind of what I heard.
I don't remember that, but I'll blame it on anesthesia. I'll stop there.
I'll go back and look at it to make sure, but I think that there was that intent for discussion.
I think you bring up a good point, Pete, that there's a lot of stuff to do before we even begin to try to move forward, realizing where we are. I mean, when you talk about how many people are not reported because they're on bad pay, just one example. And they're bouncing from Bob to me. And, they paid Bob, they haven't paid me. They're a new customer, Bob, he's not reporting because he pulled his number at, the end of last month. They're his customer this month, and I cut him off, 16th of this month. So a lot of that stuff could be tightened up, possibly.
Right.
Yeah, and that delves into all 3 lines. So when you say we had a 2% error in 22, I find that utterly remarkable. And I would say anything less than 10%, we're getting real close.
Yeah, and one thing that was interesting is the census data. The main census is taken in 2020, and then they have the updates. I'm not sure that how the updates aren't as detailed as the main census is. So the further away that you get from the main census, I think the more drift you can get in the data.
But even the main census is, there's this very basic one that everybody has to do. But then there's this American community one that every X percentage of people, they're asked to do that. So, you know, you just have to really watch the data because it's squirrely.
Yeah, you can go with default.
Yeah. But there is a librarian at the Free Public Library who specializes in census data. And I have asked her the most bizarre esoteric questions, and she comes up with the answers.
So you
I'll send it right.
not do it for me.
Right.
Yeah, we'll look at that. So anyway, I just wanted to, when we start this conversation about what we can do, because that's what the board kind of tasked the committee to do. I wanted to kind of say where we're at, what we have on the books, before the discussion gets started. So that's what I wanted to report.
A quick comment. One thing I think, the numbers you just had up there, I think are really good to somewhat prove my point, is that, you know, in the demonstration last week, she had a slide that showed how much people recycle with a cart versus a, what do you call it, tote. I think it was like, you know, 400 ton or 400 pounds if they have a cart, 200 pounds if they have this. And then making it so that it's just as easy for them to recycle as it is to throw it away. Well, we have 40% of people that have no recycling option whatsoever, based on like 60%, 60%, 60% all over the last, 3 years. So I feel like we should focus most of our energy and effort on getting these 40% a cart, like getting them a way to recycle with a cart would improve the overall amount of recycling material way more than it's going to for us doing like the analysis where we're looking through people's recycling to see how they're doing. Well, maybe we gain, a little bit there, but the main issue to me, the main problem that we have is that 40% of Louisville has no way to recycle if they wanted to almost.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I
We
was
have the
gonna say,
availability.
right.
It's part of the rules that we go by as far as the private sector, that we have to keep make it available. That everybody
But it's
picks up
too
has to
expensive, they
recycle.
won't pay for it, that's the difference.
Yeah.
So what percentage would you all guess that of Louisville residents that don't have the option at all?
Well, technically, they all have it for.
Yeah.
The drop off sites.
I'm talking about household pickup.
So that's the max.
It's people like my IT guy who lives in a he lives in a homeowners association neighborhood. The homeowners association is paying for trash, and they cut the lawn, so they do the yard waste. They told the residents that they want recycling, they have to pay for it out of pocket, so he signed up. But then the company came back and said, well, not enough of you all opted for it, so we're not going to do any of you. So he has to go to the drop off.
That was one of the things I think was found by Raptellus, was that there were people reporting that they wasn't offered it.
Right.
I don't know how widespread that is.
My-
And some of that, I think, has to do with a national cost center versus a local center. You might not be getting the right information, but I think that that's an area that we would definitely want to look at, is, but making sure that things are offered is, I think.
Well, so then can I ask to Adam's point, for the clarity of your term for availability, is that true availability with actual trucks on the road real in that area, or back to Sarah Lynn's IT person's scenario, it is technically available,
but it's not really available. The truck is actually gonna show up. So it's what is that 60%?
Well, let's just change the word, because the word is misleading.
Yeah.
The word leads you to conclude what you did. That was a logical conclusion. I think we need to change it to participation or something, opt-in, whatever.
It's kind of a hybrid reporting that you can't get either one because they're 100% of the people in the urban services district have it available. How many people actually participate? So if I think that you have two different systems. You have contracted areas and you have municipal areas to where you don't know the participation rates all the time. People might not sit out every time. And then you have subscription areas where it is a lot closer because it is an actual person paying for a service. So it's going to be much more accurate. So right now we're trying to measure something in two different systems in my mind. So how do we bridge that?
Two is simplifying it.
It's very difficult because
Yeah.
95 gallon carts, they were a godsend with increasing, handling Amazon effect. But the problem with the 95 gallon carts are, they might only be set out every third pickup because there's so much extra room in them. Or a 65 gallon cart. So you may not be seeing that continual weekly usage, like an 18 gallon bin used to be overflowing and scattered all amongst the curb. But so it is a challenge.
But that also, if, I'm like that, I don't have to set mine out every time. But on the other hand, that's still 100% participation.
Absolutely.
So,
I agree here, same thing. We set out there 3 or 4 times sometimes. It's so big.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I don't not recycle anything, but what's my
You have it and
participation?
you use it as needed. And if you have to take that once, that's,
So what's my participation rate?
you're 100% participating.
No,
If
but
you,
what's it? I wonder
How
what
do you get that?
the system thinks.
it all depends on what day of the route sheet they pull.
I think,
That's right.
I'm sorry.
I just said that's right.
Yeah, I think that by showing this, I think it demonstrates the complexities and the different factors that come into this. Whereas the state wants us to give them a participation rate. How many people are actively recycling, actively with trash service? We can't do it.
no, but what that does say is it's probably higher than what we can come up with. We probably are doing a better job than we look like.
I think what we have is a worst case scenario. I would agree.
Unless you split those two different entities, contracted and municipal, whereas everybody has it with the subscription area where that number is pretty firm. And still, I don't know, all it is a data point. And, we truly won't know how many people in the subscription area have opted not to take it for whatever reason, or even if they're being told that we don't offer it. We hear that a lot. We have heard that a lot. Just to be honest with you.
What we're saying is participation does, the fact that you have a total or a bid does not mean it's participation.
Beg your pardon?
Just because you were delivered or have a total or a bid does not mean participation. There's plenty of people to get a total that use it for everything else.
So you can first store in their cushion,
Absolutely.
Or outdoor.
Even going down the street.
air cushion.
on the back of the trailer, all that.
I just thought that slide was pretty interesting where it had detailed, the total for like participating, barely participating, the cart, participating, not participating. Just the fact that you put that cart there almost doubled that person's amount that they recycled just because they had enough room to throw it in there. It was just as easy as throwing it in the trash.
Had a lid.
They had a lid, like,
And I agree with you. I really was interested in those numbers. And
Yeah.
we've heard them before. I think what's interesting sometimes to me and experience here, some of the pilots that we did. Yeah, we dropped carts, didn't have any education. And yes, the tonnages went way up, but also there was a lot more contamination because you didn't educate. I think that when you do something like this, these numbers are just indicators. The work that we're trying to do with the recycle right thing has improved the amount, decreased the amount of contamination that we're getting. So we're getting better. Where we've kind of missed, and I think that we've kind of talked about, number one, had to get everybody on the same page as far as what was accepted so that we can educate across the community. Standardize, everybody remember us going through that. Then you have to get, then you have to start to pick out the 3 different buckets. One of them was people that are not interested in recycling at all. And you want to increase, find a way to get them. You have the people that are interested and they recycle a little bit here and there. And you got people that are avid recyclers. The message is different for all 3. Our target was going to be the in-betweens. And we never got to the point where we're targeting the people that don't use what's available to them and see what their barriers are. You know, the biggest barrier people are going to say is, I have to pay extra for it.
No, there's a second barrier because we have it throughout. And when I ask people who don't, it's because it's too complicated. I don't know what to do. And I think that the tag program for the middle people, I think your tagging program is making a difference in our city.
I agree. I think that it's working.
When I was at MSD and we had identified a lot of customers who still had bad connections to the wrong place. Poo-poo was going where it wasn't supposed to go. Or rainwater was going into the poo-poo pipe, which causes problems. We invited each of them to let us come and fix it at our expense. And 10% said no, categorically. They would not let us into their basement to fix the problem. And I think that you're right. We should be focusing on the people that participate, but not really well, and save those other people for a while, because eventually social norming might get some of them to turn around.
Yeah, so I think it's a multifaceted problem with different barriers. I remember exactly what you were talking about, Sandra, in saying, I just think that you don't necessarily have to focus on one. You can focus on different avenues. And I will tell you the one thing that we haven't really looked at, Karen, unless y'all were doing this, is getting people that don't recycle to recycle. And the reason for that, you know, for whatever reason that they're not complicated. I don't want to deal with it. It goes to the landfill anyway. We have to break down all those different barriers in our education to be able to increase our rate. So that's what we're all after, right?
I really think the field trips to the MRF is the most powerful thing of all. The number of people who have called me from upper middle class neighborhoods that were debating if they were going to sign up for recycling because so many of at least the loud people thought it was going to the landfill. Getting a couple people from the neighborhood to go see what happens turns it around.
Actually, you're totally correct. Our mayor is now totally on board. And that is absolutely why. Well, I went up to Rumpke, but I thought I wanted to see if it was real.
Right.
And now he makes all of us go.
And tells everybody about
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Exactly.
He
So
talks, every time he's going to talk about trash, he starts with this mindset
right,
being
we're speaking
changed.
to big kids, let's
Yep.
face it.
Exactly.
It's just hard to get 360,000 people.
No, it is, but I'm just saying,
Unless y'all are up to it.
you know, what if we did a special day when we invited all the home rule city officials, and another day when we invited home, what do you call it, home?
Homeowners Association.
Yeah, HOAs, those people. It's a special day, come take a tour.
There's
I think
actually
that
a
could be effective,
video available on our website.
I'm sure.
It's a pretty interesting video. It gives a better than none feeling
Sure,
about what goes into it.
sure.
And it's very involved in.
But we live in a distrustful society
Oh,
that
absolutely.
believes everybody's lying to them. And when you go yourself and climb up that ladder and see it and smell it and hear it and feel it, like to leave taste out. It's a very memorable experience, you know?
I agree 100%. I think that the video was great and it's necessary for the masses,
Right,
people that can't get there.
right.
But targeted invites to go through the MRFs, I think goes a long way towards hitting the right people and increasing recycling.
One more thing, just so I'm clear, so 100% of the people who live in Jefferson County, if they wanted to pay for it through whatever means necessary, would have the option to get a recycling card at their house.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, well, how do you explain my IT guy who was told not enough people?
Well,
in his
he
neighborhood
has the opportunity, it's
to
a
do
money thing, I
to do
guess.
the government's job and go around and
Yeah.
convince everybody? IT people are shy. They don't do things like that, you know?
Yeah, they're.
It-
So everybody that really wanted a card, they really wanted one, they were willing to pay whatever it took to get that card to recycle, has the opportunity to have one.
Okay, let me pose this question to you. If someone in an HOA wanted to recycle and the HOA said, no, you're not allowed to recycle, is that?
You know, what we need is, we need to know which HOAs, because a lot of them don't do trash. I mean, we've got 22 in Prospect, none of them are involved in recycling or anything like that anyway. So we almost need to have some knowledge of which ones do have it problems like yours.
So you're saying your city does it for the HOAs?
We do it for all of our residents.
Okay, so that is a different permutation.
But there are a number of other cities like that.
Good.
So I have a feeling that the number of HOAs that are involved are not a very large number, but they probably are very large HOAs.
And my concern is, just like one of them bans solar panels and then the next one bans solar panels and it's getting legs, I worry about this getting legs.
I mean, it could, but that doesn't mean that you don't make the effort.
No, I agree.
I think to Sandra's point about HOAs and how many there are, I think that Raftellus did send a layer in the GIS file, whatever that means to everybody, of the different HOAs, and it did give household counts. And there was a lot that you have to start sorting out the
Yeah, you do,
differences
and the
between a
list-
high rise and.
The
bigger,
list that
more-
they ended up with had like 238 HOAs, which is a very low number. That is not all of the ones in
How many?
Jefferson. It was a small number like.
And I thought they said they didn't believe it
Yeah, it
either.
isn't. It was the only ones that were available on a compiled
Yeah.
list.
And they said they didn't believe it either.
Well, they were told that it was not.
Right.
So once I get that, able to look at what Raftell sent us, I think that would be a good thing. You can cancel out through GIS. I can't do the GIS, but you can, which ones that wouldn't necessarily be what we're talking about, your high rises or whatever. And there's HOAs in the urban services district. I had no idea.
Yep.
But there are. And, once you pare down how many is left, then you can start to contact them and say, hey,
Well, and we're probably looking at things like Eastwood or Lake Forest. Or
Starting
things
with
like
bigger
that,
ones?
right?
Yeah.
Rather than, I don't know where your person lives, but most small HOAs don't, they don't, they're so interested in what they're doing that they're not doing things at that level.
Yeah, I think this place, if I recall correctly, was on the order of 125 units, period, patio homes. So I wonder, could GIS, I believe it would have a layer. It certainly has a layer for the small cities. It has a layer for multifamily versus single family, I'm pretty sure.
go ahead, finish your thought.
And I
I'll tell you what
think,
think
Mr. Former firefighter, doesn't it have a layer to show the height of, or at least the taller buildings, because the firefighters need to know where they'll need to pump iron?
No,
Did I make that up?
I know that it doesn't have that. Angela was a GIS person. I won't put her on the spot, but she can correct me if I'm wrong. The data files are they may have some of that information. The problem is that they have to use census data as well. Census data only breaks it at 10 units, whereas most, like the USD, it's 8 units. So when you start to analyze that data, you're picking up parts of things that you are not eligible to collect.
But wouldn't the PBA have the number of floors and units to the property? As a side
I
note,
thought Riff Taylor's tried that.
See,
I thought that Riff Taylor's tried it.
yeah, there's limitations to what you can get.
it's what they're willing to share. I mean, I think
Well,
they
that
have
might be
the
true.
data. Getting them to share is a different
I
matter.
don't know.
So yes, there's some data there, but I also realize that sometimes PBA wise, things aren't always up to date as well.
Nothing's perfect.
I know there's parcels that they're not even there anymore, but they're still in the system.
We are talking about a big gap. I mean, you know, when you talk about 6 and 8 units, there's substantial numerous numbers there. The only way that I can see it is looking at, well, even the utility bills, you know, sometimes
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, but sometimes the owner of the property has one and then he allocates to everybody.
But usually not
I don't know
electric.
How many of them are?
And when you don't know that, exactly.
But usually in multifamily, the landlord makes the tenant get their own
Usually.
electricity. Maybe not gas, but electricity, I would think, would be a pretty clear indicator of occupancy. But getting LG&E to share data is not easy.
We've never been able to. I mean, we've tried that in some municipalities that we had. It is the only way is to get people out there and circle the house or the unit in order to see if they have a meter.
The only
It's
way,
You
difficult.
gotta be careful of that.
And you have to be careful.
I needed to do directional drilling under a big, huge gas line, and they wouldn't tell me until 7 days beforehand. And I'm like, I'm trying to plan a safe job. I just have to find somebody I know who looks it up and tells me on the slides.
So I think the thing here is that from my standpoint, it's good to understand what this data is and its limitations and what it says. I agree with your initial thought that availability, when we look at this chart, maybe availability isn't the right
It
word.
is not the right word. I think it's participation, is it not?
We're saying we can hardly find what that participation rate is.
Yeah, but participation beats the hell out of availability. I mean, there's the axiom in philosophy that says if you can't be perfect, pretty close is better than nothing.
Because available would be the same number as in the top line.
Right.
Why do you all feel that this 40% of people who, what do you all think is the reason that they do not participate?
Cost. I heard on,
Cost or
It's all of the-
confusion
A lot of people
or
get out.
difficulty.
heard on NPR just a few days ago that 50% of Americans are struggling to pay basic expenses. Everything has gone up so fast and wages haven't kept up and people are struggling.
So
But the other
if
part of
cost-
that is also, for example, we have an old community. And when you're living on a big hill and you've got to get the cart all the way down to the street, it's not a choice.
She means older residents.
I know.
season. So if costs were not a factor, and you think the people had a cart, I mean, a plenty ample size cart to put the recycling in and cost, it was just, the cost was sunk into something else. They didn't see it. Do you feel like if that were the case, that number would be significantly higher?
I think it'd be 50% there.
If you look at what takes place in like the urban services district, they have it, the participation rate is really pretty high.
That's what I think.
Even where you would not think that it is, the number of purchases of recycle cards for just to keep increasing.
Okay. Number of purchases for deliveries of recycling carts. That's how you're measuring participation.
No,
No, not, that's just an indicator. that we looked at in the past.
Because I think we all need to use the same indicators.
Well, sure.
If I'm using a rod sheet on how many are picked up, that doesn't mean how many we dropped off.
Say that
Well,
I mean, we could have delivered a recycling cart to every resident we service, but only 5 of them set out. Route sheet's only gonna show 5 collections.
But people don't go to the trouble to order a cart and then not use it.
No,
Well,
but the thing is, you don't necessarily use it for everything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And people move, you guys know that.
Yeah.
And, you know, with Metro, they delivered recycled bins to every household at one point. And there were places that anybody that had a bin that put out, they got a cart. And it wasn't just a one-time pass to see who was doing it. It was, they surveyed for at least 3 weeks straight to get anybody that had a bin, they ended up getting a cart. They got a cart because we got a grant from the Recycle Partnership. But, you know, it's only as good as the vendor that's delivering them too, because they was delivering them willy-nilly everywhere.
There are municipalities and HOAs that put out the contract in which they pay for every unit, every household that's in their municipality. So it includes recycling.
So it's a bundle rate.
It's both. It's a bundle rate to the customer, to the client. But for me, it's a separate rate in which I actually determine how much it's going to cost in order to do recycling, trash, and articles.
Right.
But my point being is that there are municipalities that do pay for all of it. And what their recycling rate is or their participation rate is really difficult in order to determine what I'll say participation rate.
People, well, participation, maybe you have the technology to do it by where you're picking up. It's technology doesn't always tell you very good. But I understand your point. You know, to the customer, they don't know. It's all part of what they
Think of.
and, you know, so typically that would be considered a bundle rate.
Oh, okay.
But you have to calculate
Yeah.
the
that's
cost
what I'm
of
saying.
it into the same thing and bid it to where you're going to get the contract.
Yeah, my point being is that, you know, they would be interesting in order to know what their participation is.
That's what I think. Someone who cost is not a factor at all, which it's like that where I live, like it's all bundled into my property tax or whatever. I think we have a high participation rate because we have a trash, we have a cart, we don't pay any extra. And I think it's like they were saying that you have very little effort to make to just say, I'm either gonna throw this in the trash or I'm gonna throw it in the recycling. They're both right here. So I don't have to put forth any more effort to do one or the other. I think that's when you start to really see high levels of recycling.
So how do we get that participation rate? One thing is recycle coach or not coach.
Recycle Right program. I mean, we did it a little bit in Prospect. I haven't calculated it every time, but you know, the team is going out tagging carts set out for recycling. And if you can take that data just based on the houses and then how many houses are in the area and get basically a participation rate
On that day.
on that day. But we do
That's the
that 3
situation.
times. We go 3 times.
Three
So we
times
get
within what period of time?
6
within a
weeks,
week,
probably.
6
It's
weeks,
6
different
three-
days.
3 collection days, and typically it's every other week, but
It'll never be perfect.
it won't be
It's a
perfect
pretty
because
decent-
if you were just using the computer to figure out how many houses are there, we don't know if you know, especially in the urban services districts, or maybe houses where no one even lives there or whatever. But we've done the calculation some. We just don't use it all the time because the Recycle Right program isn't really for that. It's not to increase participation, but it can be something we can use to try to decide like, okay, well, if we want to boost recycling participation somewhere, here's where we should go.
I would ask the haulers, in general, do you guys believe that contracted areas that have the different services. Like I can answer for the urban services district. Because it had a higher participation rate than in your subscription areas.
In the subscription
Yes.
with recycling
Yeah.
or the subscription in total?
I think recycling.
You could answer the question on each service, because the real question is, if it's taken care of for you, do people participate more versus if they have the pain of writing a check every month or quarter or
I
whatever?
think that's Adam's point. If they have it, will they use it? Is it more likely that they're going to use it?
In all honesty, right now, Pete, with all the variables we brought up in this meeting, I can't answer that. That's a sad statement, because we just delivered Mount Washington. Everybody got a recycle cart, everybody got a trash cart. I don't know what, they're doing down there. I can't tell you what the actual set out rate is in J-Town. And we've done that community for years.
That's what I was.
And I think that's the fact we have to get over is having a cart does not mean they participate. If they set that cart out once a month, then they're participating.
Well, one measure is if the tonnage goes up.
Yeah, that's the only measure.
But we could be consuming more packaging.
Could be
To
COVID
me,
all over again.
you almost need to open people's trash carts and see what you see.
But that's what
If
they're
they have-
doing.
That's controversial.
If they have.
Well, fair argument, fair, but and yeah, that's the other thing is how many of you who serve dumpsters to businesses complain about other people
We
dumping
send
their
notices
stuff?
out for contamination.
Pardon?
We send notices out for contamination.
No, I mean, like, if you have a customer who's in a strip mall, do they complain to you that their dumpster gets filled up by people other than themselves?
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes they.
Okay, I
That's
mean,
why you
it's
sold-
almost a rhetorical question,
That's
but,
why you sell lid locks.
Why, what's it, Pat?
well,
What's
to
that
me,
for you?
because it's a hidden
That's
cost
true.
that we are not ensuring that people have affordable services, so they dump it on somebody else who ends up paying for it.
Yes. Happens much more than we would like.
So in the end, it's kind of complicated. But
Who
when
knew?
it comes down
Yeah,
to,
it's,
when it comes down to some of the things that the partnership said was availability or having a cart does drive additional recycling.
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor, is just if you have the opportunity, then you're way more likely to recycle than having no opportunity.
And the easier it is,
The easier it is, the more you're gonna get. And I think that was what was illustrated in the bin versus the cart. Well, the bin, we just switched maybe a year or two ago, from the bin to the cart. The bin would get full. Like, once it gets full, then you're kind of, this is a little questionable trash. So, but with the cart, never gets full. They come pick it up every week. I think, my household is maximizing their recycling ability due to the ease and availability of the service. But I think, if my parents who live in Southern Indiana have no recycling whatsoever, they don't recycle anything.
they live in Clark County,
They live in Floyd County,
Floyd County, yeah.
but it's just, it's not like they don't want to, the opportunity's not there for
No,
them to make it easy for them to do, and so therefore they just don't. And I think I think we need to focus more on providing people with the opportunity versus, instead of worrying about the people who are already doing it, how well they're doing it. I think we could really make a bigger stride, bigger increase in overall recycling by just making that opportunity so much easier and better for the people who have no opportunity.
I agree.
I think there's an opportunity there, and I still believe there's a generational flip that will occur within the next 15 years that will increase our recycling rate.
Really?
Yes,
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, no, I agree.
because I'm telling you what,
if you look at our numbers year to year, what's reported, we're actually going down with the
Right.
number of people that are recycling.
in my experience, it was the greatest generation who had to do it during World War
Yeah.
II, who were the absolute best.
Well,
And now they're all practically gone, and you're looking at us.
well, you're looking at the boomers. Yeah, and the boomers, well, I'm married to one who's 67 years old, and she started recycling 2 years ago.
How can she be married to you and not recycle?
Because
I thought you.
Clark County was charging her extra. And it should have been in her property taxes. And by damn, she wasn't gonna do it.
I hear you.
Hey, you want to pick up that fight with her? You have at it. But I've got 45 years invested and not taking a risk.
So that, I think everybody realizes that we have to take these numbers with a grain of salt.
And we have to remove available.
Yeah,
There.
I
Because
think-
I agree, it's not the right word.
no, could you just change it to option? Bring it back, please.
Option.
Yeah, I think our definition of option here is so complicated. I really think it has to be participation.
Households who opted in.
But that
No.
doesn't fit everybody.
Yeah.
I think participation somehow needs.
I think you've left me with several questions I've written down that I'm gonna go get answers for, and we can talk.
Good.
And just how, when we're pulling our participation numbers is huge.
What if we said household participating in recycling services? Did we do that?
If we probably got the room to make that happen.
There's enough letter space up there, yes.
So tell me what that was again.
Well,
Allow us to- it's on
household
the-
with,
on the-
household participating in whatever the service.
Just using, if you want
That's
to
fine.
save space and keep it simple,
Yeah,
use
that
it.
would work.
It's not accurate.
Well,
It's not accurate in the urban services district and probably not accurate in contracts because
It's not, totally, it is not.
that's, because you have it, doesn't mean if you do it.
no,
What
but
we
maybe
report
we
to the
need,
state is participation.
maybe we need an asterisk at the bottom and say participation or using or whatever means this, but we all know there's exceptions, something like that.
To be honest, I used to call this the availability and participation rate. That's what I used to call
That
it.
was probably pretty honest.
That's it.
I don't know.
I object to it using participation versus availability. Maybe availability isn't the right word, but participation is not.
The problem with availability is we go back to Adam and it implies that if we made it available somehow, that rate would go up. And yet it might not because we haven't really defined what we're talking about.
Well, what I notice is the uniformity within the columns. Trash is almost universally provided in some form or fashion or expected or whatever, and the numbers are very close to each other. But when you get into the ones that often are out of pocket expenditures, the participation drops and it drops fairly consistently. And that seems to me to mean something.
I agree.
Except, notice how it's dropping as we go through time, and there I'm concerned it's the cost. Or just affordability in this economy.
Or it's when we told them they had to have paper bags instead of plastic
Plastic
bags.
bags.
I think honestly, the preference would be that people don't use the yard waste system.
There's a lot of people that don't cut their own grass and they don't have to.
That's right. And
More than.
their lawns look great, don't they?
I know.
So I talked to
So
Wes.
leave it on the ground. That's one of our
That was.
education things.
Now, for 45 years, our grass has been clipped and bagged and set out at the curb or put in a cart and set at the curb.
I talked to Wes about this a few minutes ago because the people who do cut their own and don't want to pay for yard service and for whatever reason don't seem to be able to do composting, they have a nasty habit of dumping it in the ditch or in the catch basin, etc. And we're going to talk to the people who actually have to clean those things out and see if they have any anecdotal information that might be informative.
Well, if we're talking about just lawns, there are mulching lawn mowers. We have them. It's only my weeding that goes out to the curb for yard waste.
Sure, but I see people stuffing their yard waste into the catch basin and risk getting myself
Oh, no,
shot.
that can be
No.
true.
Asking them to please stop it because
But
that's a problem.
The other thing that's happening is what you said, the people that are coming around mowing
Oh,
are taking it. with
Yeah.
them.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or they don't.
I did it. I had it. There was no way I was going to be taking it. There was no way I was going to take it. It got mulched into the ground,
Exactly.
even during heavy leaf season. And it didn't.
Well, if you have a good mulching lawn mower, it works.
I can't imagine that leaves didn't give you more problem in the catch basins and yard waste than grass.
That's correct,
And the leaves
because it
were-
just mats,
Another thing-
especially oak and magnolia.
Another thing that will tell you that they do it instead of the ditches is they put it in with their trash.
Yes,
So 7%, I think in the last composition study we had, it was about 7% yard waste was in the trash stream, which is significant.
Which again, I think comes back to ease and availability.
I agree.
If you're provided a car can, something to throw your yard waste in, people are gonna put it in there. But if it's not available, they don't have it, they have to pay so much for it, then it's gonna go wherever they decide it needs to go.
If you was gonna give the top 3, top 5 barriers to people obtaining recycling services, what would they be? Or using recycling services, what would they be?
cost.
But to me, the only reason is,
I don't think it's,
or not the only, but I think that has to be very, very high up there on the list is cost. If it were free and people didn't think they're paying for it whatsoever, and it's sitting right there, I think, you know, that it's a no-brainer for them to recycle, and I think they will.
I think it depends upon where it's at. If it's subscription area, its cost is definitely the first one. In contracted areas, it's complicated because they already have it usually. In urban services district, they already have it, so why don't they? So you have a big portion of that, you know, it's too complicated, it's icky, you know, for whatever reason. So you got different reasons for different areas.
So to me, though, at that point, we're just, but none of those reasons make sense to me. Too complicated, icky, yada, yada. I mean, that to me is just.
Yeah, but if you talk to people, I totally agree with what you just said.
It's a barrier that education has been working on for a long time, is all of those other factors. The availability factor is not something that necessarily has been the focus, you know, so far. So trying to figure out those things, it's probably got the biggest bang for your buck, because if everybody had a cart in front of their house, I guarantee you the amount of recycling would go way up that was collected. That's to your point.
People want to do the right
That's what I
thing,
think.
90%.
They want to, it's just, they don't want to put forth any money or effort other than, much less than what they're already doing.
You know, the other factor I wonder about is households are shrinking. There are fewer kids in each household to whom to delegate these chores, you know. I'm watching around my neighborhood, there's not that many kids, and the kids are spoiled. They're doing all these activities. They don't cut their own grass, you know?
Well,
On their electric scooters.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, the parents aren't making them do chores.
I would eliminate the option and what y'all talking about, which I agree with you, yard waste. Yard waste is a whole different ball. And we who have been around when the plastic bag ban was a big deal, and it still is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
What do you mean?
We have to buy
People
our own.
want to use plastic bags and.
Oh, I
Okay.
heard.
And we have to go buy them when we run out.
But I mean,
Absolutely.
look at how few violations there were. That
There
says to me
were.
it wasn't that big deal. How many tickets do we write on that or citations?
Honestly, the way that we rolled it out, we didn't have very many.
Right.
Whenever our supervisor went out and he found somebody that had it in plastic bags. They dropped off a note and 5-bag bundle for them to say, we'll pick it up if you put it in the bags. And then it had the information on how to continue. A big tell for me in the Human Services District was the fact that anybody that knows where our yard waste went, they don't like contamination, and they will tell you to come get it if it's contaminated. They have been exceedingly surprised and happy. I can't talk for them, but they have been very happy with the little contamination in the plastic bags. And we took pictures of the stream before we implemented it and after, and it looked like two totally different waste streams. But, you know, it doesn't work everywhere. And, you know, one of the biggest difficulties with yard waste is if you have a yard waste cart and you put it out on the same day as your trash, you're going to get 2 carts with yard waste and trash in it, and you're not going to be able to do it. It's sometimes the way you pick it up is also an issue.
You're saying you have to pick it up, not trash on a different day than yard waste.
Or they need to be
I
different
think that would be
colors.
best
Yeah,
practice.
I agree. Or they need to be different colors, really different colors.
That's what
Or
like.
like some of them have big, huge, I mean, the letters are this big, yard waste.
Yeah, I think all of that plays in. And I don't mind talking about our competitors down the road in Lexington. But I will say that my knowledge is that their recycling contamination rate and their yard waste contamination rate is off the charts compared. We're doing
Yeah, we're doing a lot
way
better.
better.
I can imagine the campus is a lot of the problem.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think they have the
That's what I know
Kirby,
about.
they have all 3 carts. I think personally, the cart is the issue.
And that's a collector issue, like the collector is just picking up the wrong can.
I don't think so. I think it's more the resident doesn't use the cart properly. They got their kid taking it out and their kid doesn't understand where the stuff goes. I think that's a big part of their issue.
So follow, so.
Yeah,
Thank you. I just had a couple of suggestions that, that could be considered recycling barriers, but a lot of people don't. Yes. One of them would be medical or physical restrictions. Some people, have a hard enough time doing smaller things as it is, and they might see it as like an extra task to like clean something out or like say grading lots of vessels to dump it out in the recycle. One of them is environmental education and awareness. One of them would be social needs and priorities. Some people are struggling and then they don't like, they're not seeing that as much as a priority and they don't have it in the capacity of on the list of needs to consider that. Consistency and habits. So like some people weren't raised to think of the environment, to think of recycling, and their brains don't do it. So they're kind of just not even in that space. And then like a sense of personal responsibility. Some people just don't feel like, oh, well, you know, personal responsibility.
I think you hit on every one of them. And it's, you can.
why did you start with that? You'd have saved us 45 minutes.
Yeah. it's harder. So as far as the task of the board, you know, we've got these. I don't know what the committee wants to come back with, but I think that everybody kind of understands the complexities of measuring it and the complexities of improving. Are we missing something up here? Can we do something else?
Well, I've got my list of questions and I'll have answers for, bring back to the next meeting.
What did you say? I beg your pardon?
I said I'll have
Oh, okay.
my answers and my questions about reporting. Best time, how do we report, what do we gauge it off of?
I think there's things that can be done. Trying to
Because
get everybody.
Sure. Sure Bob does it in similar fashion.
Yeah,
And
we ought to talk about it as far as the chapter goes.
yeah, because we at least can provide that type of consistency. Even with the flip flop, we do have residential.
What,
The flip-flop every 3 months of residential customers.
imagine the story that you guys get, we're not paying this.
We've got 10 minutes. I do want to talk a bit about this meeting first week of August. Sarah Lynn, you're not going to be available.
Just yesterday got booked for that exact time slot.
Pete, you're the only other one I didn't hear from.
Oh, I'm sorry.
April,
It may have been me.
August,
I'm good for it.
August 4th at 1,
No, at 2:30.
at 2:30. Okay.
I mean, Bruce, what I could try to do is work with Wes to get the input that I was supposed to get from MSD and send it to you before the 4th, so you have that input,
Actually, that'd be great.
if that solves the problem.
No, we'll have another meeting where you can explain it to us.
So the
Dang it.
fourth,
I know.
Bruce,
4th is a Tuesday, yes.
Tuesday at 2:30
it's your
here.
anniversary. I don't
No,
know.
he said 1 to 2:30, didn't you?
I wrote that.
Karen, did you,
So wait, I'm booked one.
was it 1 to
It
2:30?
was 1 to 2:30.
Oh,
When?
1 to 2.
1 to
Right.
2:30.
So I-
That's when I just got booked.
Bruce, one of the things that I did, just in general knowledge about the street sweeping system that we have now, I didn't know if we'd get to it, but I threw it on here. If you want, I can run through the way the system kind of works and the differences. It's only 3 slides. We got time.
Oh, we've got 9 minutes.
Rob, you want to do, you want me to go ahead? If you want. I will.
Actually, could you also send that to us, that we'll have it? There's no way I can memorize that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have it.
Okay.
So sweeping is conducted 3 times per year in the USD and the suburban area. In the urban area, it's conducted using municipal crews. And then in the suburban area, it's contracted by Public Works Swims to be able to do it there. These are some of the differences here, 2,600 miles, 2,300, but this has some bike lane, extra bike lanes in it, so it jacks up. Basically, the mileage is about the same. The weight difference is massive, and there, I'll tell you about why that is in this minute. And the cost, take this cost with a little bit of grain of salt because it kind of gets jumbled up in other services. And then the suburban area, you can see the difference in pounds. It's big, and that is a contracted cost, which looks a little bit low.
It's right around that, and it's gonna be different, so by the time we have our meeting, there'll be the contract to be awarded. So we'll have a different cost, and I think the miles were tweaked a little bit on this new contract, so there'll be a little bit of difference there.
Okay.
I don't understand, back up, please. I don't understand the distinction between weight and litter.
Generally, in the annual report, we can report, this is where some of the data come from. You can only count 25% of the weight of street sweeping because they only consider that part litter. The rest of it is road grit, sand, and other stuff
Yard waste.
that is much bigger.
So what
So
about all the water? Because they use so much water, that would really inflate the weight, I would
good
think.
point. It's a good point. I don't think that they use a water truck in the suburban area.
Okay,
So
They have like disters on the sweeper, but that's usually about it.
okay,
Just kind of just keep the dust out. They don't use water truck.
okay.
So the big difference is, okay, urban services district, curb roads, biggest thing is parking lanes. The stuff just sits there. And it doesn't get moved by the traffic going back and forth, so it gets encrusted onto the ground. You're only doing it 3 times a year. You're trying to break apart some heavy stuff. After that, the drains have to be cleared, followed by the flushing truck, which is what you're talking about, Sarah Lynn. The routes are conducted during the day because if you have street parking, most people are at work, but not all. So you have to sign the no parking. That's another factor. You also have to have parking enforcement, and you have to have the tow lot to come move vehicles.
Exactly.
And because citizen parking is limited, to where if they can't park on this street, they got to find another place to park. We do north and south one day, east and west on another day. So,
That's only in the urban.
this is the urban services. When you get into the suburban area, we are doing the curved roads. And usually there's no parking lights, which means there isn't gonna be necessarily as much of a buildup of material to pick up. Except for when you get to the medians where everybody flicks their cigarettes out. So that's one of the biggest
And
things. So
they're more likely to have roll curves. You know,
well, some of it, yes.
and that makes. a
Like
big
on Dixie
difference.
Highway, I don't know, but you're right. I think they might be actually changing into those. But the routes are conducted at night because there's no parking, which means that you don't have to have parking enforcement. You don't have to sign. So those things make things a whole lot easier and less expensive.
And you gotta factor too, at nighttime, that's like Dixie Highway, you don't wanna, during the day when people are doing 80 miles an hour down. So you do it at night, it's a lot safer.
So the point is that it's really a different system. Lots of times when you get to an urban core versus a suburban area, there's big differences in the way you have to do things. So just wanted to give a general education before we get into the subcommittee, just as this is how we do it. There'll be a lot more detail and hopefully some comparisons to other peer cities and what they do. But I just wanted to do that.
And I'm hoping by the next meeting, I'll have a map, just kind of, because I'm a visual person anyway, so kind of lay out the routes, you can see where it all is.
Good, Rob. Anything you can do to, I'm a little slow, so anything you can help. Helps out. But it will be on the 4th at 1 o'clock.
I can change it.
And you're gonna try to wiggle.
I've been talking to Wes about how to penetrate it. The other thing we're gonna look at besides the catch basins is, do we see more dumping of yard waste in ditches where people are less likely to have yard waste service? Or less likely to afford a lawn
Sure.
service, for example.
Even more ditches in some of those.
That's right.
contracts.
That's right.
I would just be amazed at what they spend to clean up the catch basins.
Yes, and it's also, they have these massive mowers just to cut down the weeds twice a year that could take your head off if you were in the wrong spot. They're huge. And I forget what they call them, ditch master or something. Ditch, it sounds worse than ditch master. Whatever it is, it sounds scary. You have to have special training to operate it and all that.
Okay, well, we have a couple minutes left. Any more public input?
Well, I wanted to say that it showed up in the minutes, but I really did want to hear more about how we're going to prevent the problem of the plastics going to the wrong place, because it doesn't do us any good to collect stuff if it goes to the wrong spot.
I believe, well, obviously Ken's not here tonight, but I believe they've rectified that problem. Have they
Well,
not?
yeah,
That's what
it
they
was-
said, but I'd like to know, is this gonna just happen in 6 months? What are we gonna do to try to make sure it doesn't? It seems to me that we have a trust problem, and if we're gonna get people to sign up for recycling, they have to have faith. I personally want to be able to defend this to people when they ask me, and I feel like I'm flat-footed on that
Send it
account.
to me.
What? No, I want to, I think that
I gave you a solution. Now you're turning your back to me.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's not even personal, but I think I need to have faith myself because people trust me and they come to me, and it's just a reasonable question.
Yes.
I have a small update. I can't say very much because the general manager is really the one involved with all the conversations with our corporate team. We've made the request for a letter to be sent to, I don't know the gentleman's name that wrote the article off the top of my head, but for a letter to be sent regarding the whole situation. It's still being discussed. I don't have an update on there yet, but I am having multiple conversations with our general manager, getting updates from him, and I'm gonna push him to keep updating you all as well.
Yeah,
You
because
all want to know.
I want to know too.
We are getting statements from our current 3 through 7 outlets that I can share with local metro. I know that we're sending, in our monthly report, we put down at the bottom all of our outlets, but I do have a further statement that I received. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before during a meeting, and it does specifically, kind of talk about what's happening to each plastic, number 5 that gets pulled out, or number 7. Because where we're sending it, they're, sorting it more thoroughly than we are. And it talks about, this is being turned into construction plastics, and this is being turned into this and this and that.
Good.
So I'll share that statement. It gives a little bit more detail from the outlet that we're sending. it
Public
to.
likes that. They like to connect those dots.
I will say, every time I'm giving a plant tour, the one slide everyone takes a picture of is our outlet slide. So they get to see everything when it's being made turned into, and that's when I see all the phones come out and they snap the picture. But no, I agree. And so I'm having conversations with them and trying to get as much information as I can.
Thank you.
He couldn't be here. Bailey, we wanted him to come, but he's actually traveling. He's going to actually our paper mill in Stevenson, Alabama, up in New York one. So he's out of town. But he will be attending a future meeting. He should
Great.
be pretty sure.
Thank you. And is our cardboard still being turned into White Castle boxes? Because that's something that everybody knows.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know White Castle off the top of my head. I know the cardboard, we make a lot for Pampers. We do a lot for Pop-Tart, Krispy Kreme, Chick-fil-A. I went to our Nicholasville folding plant the other day, and they were doing a large order of Club Cracker boxes. So
That's the kind of stuff I could use to.
yeah, pizza, our Hebron location, they are pizza box factory over there. They make pizza boxes and pizza boxes only. Is what I heard. So lots of Pizza Hut, Domino's.
Don't talk about any more food. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
What was your
Thank you.
name? Sorry,
Haley,
Haley,
yes.
thank you very much. Trying to steal your business, and you're a good partner, 'cause I believe we sell a lot of material to you.
Yes. I get a lot of.
Okay, you have no more public input? Announcements, next 109 board meeting,
Actually, I have
Yes.
another question.
okay,
2 quick questions. So number 1, I know that Metro, we've got a team, you all tag the recycling dumpsters or cans that you see have contamination in them and just give them pointers and stuff like that. Do you all ever find vapes in those when you're going through them by chance?
I'm sorry,
I don't think that's come up, but it is not, they're
They're so
kind of
small.
looking on top.
Yeah, I know they can't get.
Yeah, they use a tool to sort of
Okay.
move things if needed.
My,
I-
I've never had that report.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it would be like, we have a little checkbox for hazardous material. I think at one point, we don't get it very often. I think I've seen like a small mower battery type thing that they found once that I remember having a picture of and using, but
it would have been when we did the actual composition study, dumped it on the ground and went through it. My thing-
That was 2015, maybe?
That was a long time ago.
Was vapes a big thing?
Vape pens are big.
Back then, were they?
No, I don't think they were that big.
We can go back and look at it. It's all online anyway.
Yeah, I know at one point in time, we went through and we did some type of scattering of material, sorting through it and separating it by category.
I think that they categorized it as hazardous materials too, not the individual. They might have an individual breakdown, but I don't think that it made it into the report in any way other than hazardous materials.
Good question, though.
A second question is I actually saw on Facebook, Rumpke has stickers, decals on their waste containers and their recycled containers. And in very big bold letters, it says no batteries. Does Metro containers have any sort of decals that detail what's acceptable or not acceptable?
I can remember when we started to use decals, and maybe things have changed a little bit since then. But we created decals for a lot of recycling containers, and they were fine, and they were good. And problem is that the ink is not sustainable. So after a while, The only thing that you had left was, I think, a blue and a black.
Actually, the ones that are, because mine's a Rumpke and it's, I guess, 2, 3 years old now, it's still perfect.
Yeah,
The can is gonna go before the decal
The
goes.
irony is it was probably environmentally sustainable, but not weather sustainable.
I just wanted to bring it up because I really liked it when I saw it, because batteries and vapes are a huge issue, and I think, you know, it might be something for you all to discuss to see if it's an option that could happen to Metro containers, recycled containers, and, I mean, it should be on trash as well. And if it is an option, I don't know if you all think this would be beneficial, but maybe not just put no batteries, but add in vapes, because they are, sometimes people don't view vapes as batteries. They
Yeah.
kind of sometimes separate them in their minds, so just a thought that I would
Bruce.
throw out.
Could you bring a sample of what she's talking about? at the
Oh,
next
absolutely.
meeting?
I think I saw it underneath Mount Washington.
Probably.
It was a really cool picture, so.
The nice thing is we've all got the same acceptable commodities now in a
No, they
recycling.
changed over time.
Oh.
It's actually, the one they've got right now is about this big, it's bigger than this. And it's simple. It's easy to look at.
Sure, I'd be happy to bring it in.
did you all get a lot of your text through looking at like the recycle partnership? Because they seem to have some really good signage that we've used in the past.
We work with the Recycle Partnership all over the
I
footprint.
thought y'all did.
I mean, we've done work with them in Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, you name it. I mean,
They're good.
yeah, they're very good. We've lost people at Recycle Partnership. We've had employees leave and go to work for
Well,
Recycle.
did you? That's pretty good. Only thing that had left for us was the education calendar. It was under staff update, but
Go ahead.
Karen,
I mean, there's not a whole lot. It's been up, but you hopefully have been staring at the July calendar so you can see what else we're doing. I do want to highlight though, that the Waste District grant application is set to open July 31st. It'll open at midnight. I'm gonna do an info session that's virtual on the 23rd. I haven't added the link to that to our website, but I did create an event on our Facebook page. And then we have a Seed Louisville tour I mentioned earlier. Borden, the Smith Creek compost tour is at the Borden location, which we don't often do, but we had some interest from our ambassadors and staff hasn't been there. Pop-up drop-off is this Saturday at the Fleet Services parking lot on Newburgh Road. We've had a lot of library classes this month. You can skip to August, so you can go ahead and see what's coming. Not as much on the calendar for August. School will be starting and we already have some bookings for classes later in the year. But our pop-up drop-off will be at Fern Creek High School. And then another grant note there is that the Waste District grant application will close August 28th at 4 p.m. Don't make the mistake of thinking it's going to be midnight or 11:59. And so if you know anyone interested in that, those are some key dates. And other than that, we just have some other library programs. We have some partnership things going on with Catholic Charities, and then our monthly West Rock tour, which we love.
do you know when the stuff will be going out about the waste tire collection event? So.
I just heard those dates, but I didn't think that they were final. Are they final dates? Yeah, but as soon, I mean, it sounds like it's about gonna be October, so it should be as soon as we get it for sure final. We will put that out.
Huge event every 3 years. We generally collect anywhere between 40 and 80,000 passenger tires once over 3 days. So getting that word out is huge. So when we get more, I'm sure that's.
I should have brought this up early, but she's here on behalf of Jake Medley. And she doesn't know who any of us are, and I should have said, we need to introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you want to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, so nice to meet you all. My name is Katie Helpin. I am in week 4 of my new position as Sustainability Analyst in the Office of Sustainability with Louisville Metro. So I'll be reporting to Jake. I'm here in his stead. He's off enjoying Ireland right now. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to sit in.
Nice to meet you. My name's Bruce Burrow. I've been doing this for a few years and decades. But enjoy every bit of it and we'll go around the ring, I guess.
Sandra Leonard, and I'm here representing the home rule cities.
Maria, and I'm Susan.
Bob Schindler, citizen.
Robert Lee, representing the small haulers in the Jefferson County.
Pete Flood, I guess, executive director of the district.
Adam Story, I'm representing Concrete Recycling Company and also do some roll-up dumpsters.
And she and I met in the parking lot. I had to show her where the door was because it wasn't evident. So we've already covered that.
I do want to make a comment that if you have not seen Matt's operation up in Borden, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I'm sure you have. And he has made the difference from when we went from plastic bags to paper bags with his outlets. And they've made it easy to pick up loose and have an outlet other than waiting in line at, at a compost home.
Can we go backwards to see the next one? Back to left. There you go. So
We would love to have you join us. Please do let us know if you're planning to join so Laura can plan for numbers for vehicles.
It's scheduled to be at 9:30. Yeah, 9:30 in the morning.
Is when you're leaving.
I think that's more. 9:30 is when it is. So we would leave earlier than that to get there on time.
How long will it take?
Usually about 35 minutes, maybe, from here.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know about traffic. No traffic is always a very boring.
And I will tell you, he is a very modest man, but he has a considerable operation. Upwards of 200 vehicles on the road.
200.
So any other business? Have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, aye?
I'm
Opposed? Nobody say anything. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. 6:12, not bad. Robert, I haven't seen you for a while, buddy.